Thanks for joining us for CBN News Today. I'm Charlene Israel. A fresh reminder of the massive problems with the Obamacare website. It will now be closed every day from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. to try and fix it. The site was down all weekend as well, but the Obama administration continues to push people to enroll. Lawmakers are slamming the president for the way he's handling health care reform. As the Obama administration scrambles to fix the failed health care enrollment website, Republicans are upping their attacks. Former Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney accused the president of being dishonest with the American people.
I think the key thing that the president is trying to get away from, and that is that he told people they could keep their insurance, and that was not the truth. And whether you like the model of Obamacare or not, the fact that the president sold it on a basis that was not true has undermined the foundation of his second term.
Romney says now the president needs to try and rebuild that foundation by actually working with Congress. Some Democratic lawmakers are also frustrated with the many problems with the healthcare.gov website. They want it to be completely shut down until it's fixed.
You know, I felt, and I said this directly to the president's chief of staff, they ought to take down the website until it was right. They believe that they need to keep it running and that they can sort out the difficulties, that they brought in technological experts from a broad base of the private sector.
I would say to the president, why doesn't he call a timeout on this?
There are also new questions about the security of putting everyone's information online. Representative Mike Rogers says the Obama administration has admitted there was a risk.
They said that they think the risk was acceptable, but their information wasn't at risk. American people's information was at risk. The real threats to these systems when you have nation states and organized crime groups and criminals trying to get information that is now available on these websites.
Rogers says security needs to be stabilized before any other problems with the website are fixed. Meanwhile, millions of Americans continue to get letters telling them their coverage has been canceled. A California woman suffering from gallbladder cancer calls herself one of the losers of Obamacare in a column for the Wall Street Journal. She says Obamacare is forcing her to give up her world-class health plan, and she could lose her world-class doctor, too. She ends by saying, for a cancer patient, medical coverage is a matter of life and death. Take away people's ability to control their medical coverage choices, and they may die. I guess that's a highly effective way to control medical costs. Perhaps that's the point. President Obama continues to push his health care plan. On Wednesday, he travels to Dallas, where he'll highlight the work being done in local communities across the country to prepare people for the full implementation of Obamacare. An appeals court is siding with Ohio business owners who challenged the Obamacare birth control mandate. The business owners argue the mandate to provide contraceptive coverage would make them violate their Catholic beliefs. The ruling by a Washington, D.C. court says the mandate limits the free exercise of religion. The case is just one of many on the birth control issue, which will likely be resolved by the Supreme Court. Public prayer goes before the U.S. Supreme Court this week. It involves the small town of Greece, New York, which still holds prayer before its meetings. The Alliance Defending Freedom is supporting the city. They argue that federal and local governments in America have a long history of constitutionally protected prayer. Americans United for Separation of Church and State brought the suit, saying prayer violates the First Amendment's Establishment Clause. Terrorists have killed a Libyan intelligence officer in Benghazi. The officer and his 2-year-old son were killed by a car bomb that targeted his family. Benghazi has seen frequent violence in the past year, including killings of security officials and attacks on foreign diplomatic posts. U.S. lawmakers are still demanding answers about the attack on the U.S. consulate that killed 4 Americans on September 11, 2012. Senator Lindsey Graham is upset that the Obama administration has not allowed Benghazi survivors to testify.
A year later, only one survivor in Benghazi has been interviewed by the Congress, and that person was subpoenaed. Say that it's an ongoing criminal investigation, which is stunning. And I will ask my Republican colleagues and Democratic colleagues, stand up to the Obama administration. Don't let them get away with this. Can you imagine if this was George W. Bush and he told the Congress after 9/11, you can't talk to anybody because there's a potential criminal investigation. We're not going to investigate how 9/11 became the failure that it was.
Graham says it's been more than a year since the attack, and Congress still doesn't know anything about what happened to Benghazi from those who lived through it. The trial of ousted Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi began in Egypt today. Morsi faces charges of incitement of violence and murder against protesters last December. The trial is his first public appearance since his ouster in July. It comes at a time of bitter division between his Islamist supporters and Egypt's security establishment. The location of the trial was relocated due to planned mass rallies by the Muslim Brotherhood. Egyptian officials say Morsi told the court he's still the legitimate president of the country. If convicted, he could face the death penalty. The trial has been adjourned till January. Israel has been taking steps to promote peace and reopen negotiations with the Palestinians. That was why Israel recently released 26 terrorists from prison. The move stirred grief and rage in Israel, but jubilation in the Palestinian territories. Chris Mitchell has that story.
The mood in Palestinian areas was triumphant. All of the terrorists had been given life sentences for the kidnap, ambush, and murder of Israeli soldiers and civilians, or for executing other Palestinians suspected of collaborating with Israel. Now they're free.
I consider the release of the prisoners a national achievement for the Palestinian President Abu Mazen and for the Palestinian people.
Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas called it a happy moment and said there would be more. This was the second in a series of 4 releases, part of an Israeli goodwill gesture to the Palestinians. Critics say there's rarely mention of goodwill gestures from the Palestinians.
The Israeli government took the painful step of releasing convicted terrorists. We did so because we want to give the peace talks a chance. And we think the Palestinian Authority should be condemning terrorism, not celebrating terrorism.
Israeli Deputy Defense Minister Danny Danon says it's a mistake.
I don't think we should pay a price in order to sit in a room with Saeb Erekat. If they want to negotiate, we can negotiate here, in Ramallah, in New York, Camp David, but we shouldn't pay a price for it.
Danon said he also believes it's morally wrong.
If somebody murdered someone and went to court, and the court decided that he will sit in jail, he should sit in jail. I think it is a moral mistake. It is sending a bad message.
Thousands of Israelis demonstrated against the release outside the prison before it took place. Many victims' families felt betrayed.
It's a dark day for the bereaved families, a horrible feeling, a nightmare that becomes real. We feel that this nightmare is coming back to us, the night of the murder. We feel they are killing my brother again.
Others took their cases to the Supreme Court or came to support victims' families, but to no avail.
Releasing the terrorists will risk any one of us. The terrorists weren't looking for any individual. They were looking to harm Jews, to murder Jews.
They say it's unjust, and past experience shows many terrorists return to terror.
By releasing terrorists, you glorify the terrorists. It's showing there's no punishment, there's no system of justice.
Danon says Abbas calling for a prisoner release is a bad sign.
And the fact that the first request of Abu Mazen is to release people who kill Jews, it's something we should worry about.
There were other signs that freeing prisoners wouldn't change the situation. Even when the release was in the works, Hamas terrorists in Gaza fired 4 rockets at southern Israel. One was intercepted by the Iron Dome anti-rocket system. Israel responded by targeting 2 rocket launching sites. Just hours after the release, the Israeli government announced plans for building projects in eastern Jerusalem and communities in Judea and Samaria, where Palestinians want a future state. Media reports suggested Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made the announcement as compensation for the prisoner release, and that both the U.S. and the Palestinians knew it was coming. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Franklin Graham says hundreds of thousands of Christians plan to invite their friends to watch the telecast of My Hope America with Billy Graham. It will be shown this coming Thursday on Billy Graham's 95th birthday. He spent months recording the video. Franklin Graham says his father was unscripted and comes across like a grandfather, sharing the gospel and inviting viewers to trust Jesus Christ as their Savior. Here's a quick preview.
Old things pass away. Everything becomes new.
I knew that I was not going to live past tomorrow.
That was it. I pointed the gun right at her.
How can we break this bondage? How can we be set free?
My heart was just, yes, I need that, I want that.
With all my heart, I want to leave you with the truth.
For broadcast listings, visit watchbillygraham.com.
Billy Graham's My Hope America film, The Cross, will also feature stories from some of the biggest names in Christian music. Former lead singer of the group Flyleaf, Lacey Sturm, and Grammy-winning rap artist Lecrae share their testimonies in the 30-minute film. CBN News spoke with Lecrae about being part of the historic event.
Billy Graham is iconic, unwavering in the truth of the gospel, and it's amazing to me how a man can stand firm for a very divisive and offensive truth, such as the gospel, and still be heralded around the world by believer and non-believer alike. And I think it's a testimony of God's grace, and God is doing something amazing with him and has done something amazing with him.
More than 25,000 churches have signed up to host My Hope America events, including some of the largest congregations in the country. Coming up, outrageous political correctness will show you someone who was targeted after complimenting a Muslim. Hear the rest of this shocking story next.
Hi, my name is Breda. I'm just your typical 9-year-old. I love singing, dancing, reading, discovering the simple truth. My grandpa says you're never too young or old to learn the value of a dollar. He taught me the true value of this paper dollar. You see this little gold coin? It says $1 on it. But guess what? That was a long time ago. Today, this gold dollar is worth over 100 paper dollars. This paper dollar is now only worth 1 penny compared to America's former money, the gold dollar. My grandpa says the only money worth saving today is real money, gold or silver coins. He's pretty smart. How our paper dollars lost their value, he says. It's all explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. It's easy and fun to read. If you call the number on the screen, I will send you a copy totally free. Next time, I will explain the simple truth about money.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was. Help! And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
Former U.S. Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich says President Obama is out of touch with reality in the Middle East. The 2012 presidential candidate says Iran is the top threat, but the second greatest threat is the spread of radical Islam. And Gingrich says Obama isn't doing enough to protect religious minorities under attack.
You look at the Muslim Brotherhood, which is burning down churches. You look at the radicals in Syria who have been beheading priests. Nobody in this administration, and frankly nobody in our news media outside of places like the 700 Club and CBN, are willing to talk about the very real threat, something which, to his credit, Rand Paul has talked about, and that is that there is a war against Christians all across the region.
Gingrich's comments came just days after the president's ambassador for religious freedom resigned after only 17 months of service. Great Britain is, according to its constitution, a Christian nation, but based on the headlines, you would think that Britain is a Muslim nation. Dale Hurd has another case of pro-Muslim, anti-Christian bigotry from London.
Nohad Halawi learned that in today's Britain, you better not be perceived as having insulted a Muslim at work, because it could ruin your life. Halawi worked in the cosmetics counter in duty-free inside London's Heathrow Airport for 13 years. She was, by all accounts, hardworking and well-liked. But when Halawi ran afoul of her Muslim co-workers, she was effectively fired.
I didn't say anything wrong. I was complimenting a colleague of mine.
Halawi, a Christian from Lebanon, was having a conversation in Arabic with a co-worker and praising a Muslim colleague when it was misinterpreted by another Muslim employee as an insult.
We were talking about something else, and then suddenly I said, well, not everyone's like you. You are such an Alawi, I used the word. Alawi means a man of God in Arabic, in any religion. Unbeknown to me, my accuser was standing quite close by, and he just jumped, came right there and started shouting on the shop floor in front of passengers, my colleagues, everyone started telling me, you are insulting Islam?
It sounds like a ridiculous claim, but rumors spread among Heathrow's many Muslim employees that Halawi was anti-Muslim, and she was seen as a problem and was eventually fired. Nohat Halawi isn't anti-Muslim. She's married to a Muslim.
I've been dismissed because I'm a racist. How embarrassing was that for me? And it was all a total lie.
What happened to Nohat was grossly unfair, totally disproportionate.
Halawi is being represented by the Christian Legal Center, headed by Andrea Williams.
So to be perceived to give offense to Allah, to the Prophet Muhammad, has meant that she lost the job that she'd had for many, many years and been very effective at.
Nohat Halawi not only says she was harassed for her faith, what she witnessed at Heathrow Airport should make travelers who use Heathrow Airport nervous. Halawi heard Muslim employees of Heathrow Airport praising the terrorist attacks of 9/11 and Britain's 7/7 attack. She saw Muslims bring the Quran to work. She saw them proselytizing and handing out radical leaflets.
And he just walks up to us and he says, if you do not convert to Islam from now before the end of the world, you will go to hell. Saying, you know, convert now as well because Islam is taking over.
And when the employee was reported, Halawi says he was not fired. This is the same Heathrow Airport which in 2006 saw a foiled plot to smuggle explosives through security and onto American airliners. Financially, Halawi has been ruined. She believes she's unemployable now and has been battling depression.
Of course, who's going to give me a job when everyone knows that I'm a racist? They've just basically ruined our lives.
Heathrow Airport declined to comment for this story. But assuming Halawi's story is true, why is Christian Britain allowing the persecution of Christians like Halawi while protecting and boosting Islam?
It's extraordinary how the authorities in our country bend over backwards to accommodate Islam.
This has been a nationwide phenomenon in Britain for years.
I think that there's a sense in which all of these things can only be understood in spiritual terms. And I think in Great Britain today, we are in pagan times. We have been handed over and we're blinded.
Halawi has not gotten any help from the courts in Britain. Her attorney, Paul Diamond, has appealed to the European Court of Justice in Luxembourg, where it should stand out as a clear case of religious discrimination. Halawi is hoping the European Court cares more about the rights of Christians than Britain does. Dale Hurd, CBN News, London.
Up next, how America became a free and independent nation, told in a way you've never seen before through the eyes of an elephant.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Inside every child is a hero, a leader, a friend to others, someone who helps out, who does the right thing, who dreams of what they can be, but they still need our help.
What should I do? What should I say? How should I feel?
That's where Superbook comes in. It provides moral and spiritual truths through situations children can relate to, teaching God's Word to the children you love. Join the Superbook DVD Club and receive Superbook's newest episodes as they're available, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25. Get Superbook today and watch the miracles happen.
We all know the classic American song Yankee Doodle Dandy. Now it's also the title of a children's book written by Callista Gingrich, wife of former House Speaker Newt Gingrich. It is the 3rd installment of her series, this time focused on the American Revolution. She recently sat down with David Brody on his show, The Brody File.
The series goes on and on. I mean, you're back with another book. Tell us about Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Well, Yankee Doodle Dandy is the 3rd volume in my Ellis the Elephant series. And this series offers a guided tour of American history for 4 to 8-year-olds. And in Yankee Doodle Dandy, Ellis the Elephant discovers the American Revolution and how we became a free and independent nation.
Now, interesting. Now, the American Revolution, there was quite a few, let's just say, violent outbursts during the Revolution. This is a book for kids, though. So how do you kind of maneuver through that, at least from an illustrated point and also from writing the book?
Yes, well, it is a war after all.
Yeah.
And what I'm intending to do is to tell the truth. And yet, these books are written for 4 to 8-year-olds. So we do have the shot heard around the world in Concord at the Old North Bridge. And I treat it in a way where Ellis looks exasperated. He's not too frightened and he's not happy, but he is exasperated. And we have to tell the story of the American Revolution. Our children really need to learn about the patriotic heroes and the remarkable revolution they led so they can begin to appreciate the greatness of this nation.
Talk to me about your heart on this issue. I mean, where is this in terms of the importance for kids today? Explain to me a little bit about this pro-America, or at least lack of American history that our kids are not learning today.
Right. Well, I write these books because I do love America, and I believe we are an exceptional nation. And I think it's more important now than ever that our children understand what makes this country so special. And unfortunately, many of our students are failing to learn American history, including our founding principles and values, and instead learning revisionist or politically correct history. And as a result, they really have no idea about the basic history of our nation. And if we look at some of the statistics today, surveys show that only 1 in 3 fourth graders can identify the purpose of the Declaration of Independence. Fewer than half of all fourth graders know why George Washington was an important American figure. So we really have some work to do, and we owe it to our kids to give them the tools they need to truly appreciate the greatness of this nation.
You can see more of David's interview and get the latest in political news by checking out the Brody File on cbnnews.com.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music, it's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drag her back home?
Yeah, I might.
I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, now playing.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music, it's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drag her back home?
Yeah, I might.
I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, now playing.
New York residents are still recovering and rebuilding 1 year after Superstorm Sandy. In the aftermath of Sandy, Operation Blessing was asked to coordinate volunteer efforts for several devastated communities. In Breezy Point, New York, teams cleaned up debris, helped residents salvage belongings, and aided in rebuilding efforts. They also surprised 2 families with Extreme Blessing makeover homes. OB teams distributed nearly 500,000 pounds of food, serving more than 41,000 volunteer hours. Finally, Regent University hosted an old-fashioned community hymn sing this weekend. It was led by former U.S. Attorney General John Ashcroft and a community-wide choir made up of area churches. The hymn sing was a celebration of timeless inspirational hymns. Ashcroft told CBN News that his passion is to see a resurgence of the classic hymns and choruses that bind us together in faith.
The Bible tells us that we should teach each other and admonish each other and encourage each other with hymns and spiritual songs. That's literally the language of Scripture. And hymns that have real content and hymns that reflect the nature of God.
Friday evening's hymn sing drew about 125 people from the area. It's always good to sing praises to the Lord. Well, that's it for now on CBN News Today. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. And tell us what you think about the stories you've seen today. You can do it on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Join us next time. Have a great day. God bless.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, Naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957. Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.